All right, what's up, everybody? We are on season 1, episode 5 of the Attack on Titan rewatch. It's funny because I've been calling it a rewatch so far, and I figured that's initially what I was just going to be calling this series. But I actually decided I'm going to go with a different name. I'm going to call these the definitive reactions moving forward. And I don't know, it sounds obviously a little bit more exciting than just calling it a rewatch, but I feel like it's also just more accurate because this isn't just watching a show that you've already seen a second time and just for the enjoyment or for the heck of it. Basically, you're getting so much more information out of these episodes now. You're able to actually see how certain things were being foreshadowed already very early on, right? I've been getting, once again, this is the thing, so I watched episode 2, 3 and 4 back to back. So this is, basically one recording session later. I've finally been able to get all the input on all 3 of those episodes. And so, again, dude, I've just been getting some absolutely amazing bits of insight on top of what I already myself, of course, noticed during the episodes, which was quite a lot. I'm going to be giving a bunch of shout outs to people on Patreon who have been telling me certain stuff because I feel like it has to be pointed out, right? So I'm going to go down the list of episode 2, 3, and 4 real quick of little details that people let me know about. So for episode 2, I got a comment from Maya who said that it was actually Demo Reeves, or Dimo Reeves, I'm not sure how his name is pronounced, Fleagle's father, and his business associates in that scene that we saw where they were talking about the attack that was happening, right? And they mentioned kind of like reporting it to the government or whatever, the entity in the most inner rings and stuff, right? I actually remember, or I recall already thinking that was him on the spot. And of course, like Demo Reeves, from what I remember if I remember correctly, we're gonna see him in a couple of episodes now, maybe in like episode 6 or 7. Because yeah, he was the one like kind of holding up that passageway, I think it was, with his cart or something like that, right? And all the other people couldn't get through. And then in season 3 is when he started playing a really big role, and he actually died there, right? He got killed. I forgot, did he get killed by Kenny or something? I think that's what it was. Because he had been spilling details, I feel, to the Survey Corps or something like that. I forgot exactly how it worked, but it was something along those lines, right? Of course, forgive me, I've only seen the show once, so I don't recall everything like bit by bit, obviously. But yeah, and then his son still started to play a somewhat of a role afterwards. But super cool to see. I got a comment from Musab about the second episode who said that when Eren is on the boat and saying that he'll wipe them out from the face of the earth, it is actually the exact same line that he says at the end of the final episode of season 4 part 2, so very recently, of course, where we saw that. Yeah, of course, the context is quite a bit differently, where first it was the Titans and now it's actually wiping out the world in itself. But super cool how they do those, callbacks later on. Regarding episode 3, this was a really cool detail, I thought. Got this comment from Joshua, who said that the story Bertolt actually tells, the one that he basically made up about where they came from, like a town outside of Walmaria or something, I think he said. That story is actually, we see an old man telling that story to him in season 4. I think it was one of the early episodes, 3 or something. So I actually went back to watch that real quick, and I finally, this is the funny thing, but I remember people already pointed this out to me when I watched season 4, episode 3 or something originally, right? And they had that story told to them. But it's such a almost throwaway detail that when you're already trying to just follow the main story and everything that's going on, it's like those things go completely lost on you, right? In the same vein, I remember certain things that are going to happen, for example, in season 1, where again, I recall when I watched Attack on Titan for the first time, people kept talking about Petra or something, like this character Petra who we're gonna come across, and I think she died, right? But there was something along, like it had to do with Levi, who showed that he kind of like maybe he cared for his soldiers essentially or something. I think that's what the gist of it was. And so there was a certain thing involving Petra, but it's like I saw everybody talking about that in the comments already back when I watched it for the first time, and I had no clue what they were even talking about. It's like I didn't even have time to really pay attention to some of those characters, right? Same thing with how now we're seeing a bunch of these other characters like Thomas Wagner, I think it was called, right? And there's actually another one. Well, let me get to that one too then. So this is a really fantastic detail, but it's going to be me skipping ahead to episode 4 then already. got this comment from Papa Schmuerdijk, hope I'm saying that right, who says that Samuel, who is the guy that Sasha saved in episode 4, the most recent episode, that's actually the same guy that Connie shoots in season 4, episode 26. So one of the, at the docks, right? And I'm like, my mind exploded. I'm like, holy shit, dude. I think it's such a cool thought that, I feel like with me watching the show the first time around, it was me following the journeys of a bunch of these, the main characters essentially, right? And there's a lot of main characters in Attack on Titan when you think about it. There's basically about 10 of them, maybe 15, maybe even 20, honestly, that have a significant presence in the show and you follow around. But I think what's so cool about the rewatch now is I'll actually be able to sort of follow the journeys for a lot of these smaller characters now too, because I'll finally be able to notice them more and keep track of what they're doing. So again, that will go for like Thomas Wagner, who may very well actually get killed super quickly now, maybe even episode 5 already or something, who knows, but like, because I didn't recall him at all. There's gonna be Petra, and there's gonna be that, I forget exactly, but there's more people in the Survey Corps and the military police who, we see them on screen, but not enough for them to really have an impact on you the first time around. You get what I'm saying, right? So real quick, I have a couple more comments to go through because they're all so fantastic. This one was still about episode 3, where Sean told me that Keith actually sabotaged Aaron's equipment for Carla's sake. But then it was Grisha who also told him that some people are special. When he saw Aaron's determination, basically, that's when he decided to essentially let him do his thing and do what he was driven to do. So, I also thought, that was super cool, and I guess explains a little bit more why Keith actually did decide to, at first, again, like sabotage the equipment because he, for Carla's sake, right, for protecting her son or whatever, he didn't want Aaron to go ahead. And then now seeing how determined Aaron was, he's like, okay, I'm just a mere bystander and I'm going to let this happen. I guess that's what the gist of it is then. Couple more real quick. So for episode 4, the most recent one, I had a comment from Josh who said Raina handed Aaron the dagger and basically told him to be the bad guy now, which is kind of a subtle reference, I guess, to like the path Aaron is obviously headed in the show. Later on, got a comment from Raul who says that Raina tells Annie to remember what happened when you came here and to take this seriously, referring to Marcel's, death when they essentially aim to enter the walls and stuff, right? It's on that day, or like the day before, I think, the attack, where Amir then ate Marcel, right? So that's what he was referring to there. And then the last comment to talk about that I got from Rick, and this kind of leads into where we're going to actually get started with the episode now. He said, look how close Aaron actually got to killing Berthold already in this shot. Berthold actually didn't expect Aaron to have the balls to just, go for the... to just go for it, I guess. Because everybody, of course, got blown away by the steam and they were like, kind of like super overwhelmed by what was happening. But Aaron, he's like, at first he's overwhelmed, but then he, literally does this insane spinning move or whatever that he did in that shot, which looked super cool. And he was already right in front of Berthold, right? So this actually leads me into the episode that we're going to watch now, the 5th one, which is going to be quite a major one. I don't remember a lot of it, but I do recall... Because that's what I was thinking about. Okay, what actually happens then to Berthold or something? There's not really a fight going on there, is there? And then I remembered, oh no, what's going to happen now is Aaron actually is going to go really up close to him and he's about to strike him, in his neck or something. And then I think he vanishes. So that's the first time that we see that these Titans, at least the big ones, obviously, that they can just disappear. We know now that they don't actually disappear. But, of course, they just... essentially crawl out of the... I don't... Do I actually understand this? Because he's supposed to crawl out of the body, right? But the body is still there normally, isn't it? I'm actually really not sure about that now. But maybe people can clue me in about this and then I can discuss it again later on. But like, it really did spark more discussions in me of like, what's the deal with some of these Titans in the first place? That's really what I recall from it. Yeah, there's gonna be a battle, which I don't know too much about. All that I remember is the very end of it, where obviously there's gonna be one of those regular Titans who's about to... First it was actually like Armin was about to get killed, and then Aaron actually saves him, but then the thing actually like eats Eren. Doesn't actually eat him, doesn't consume his spinal fluid, obviously, but like actually bites off the arm or something, right? Yeah, and from there on, that's where we're gonna get to Eren turning it into a Titan and all that stuff. I'm super looking forward to it. But that's essentially what I remember from this 5th episode, and that's what we're gonna get into now. And I'm just incredibly excited to see if there's perhaps any more details that would have, gone lost on me the first time around that now I'll be able to spot, because just going through this series a second time has been a real treat so far. I gotta say that. It's been absolutely fantastic. So with that being said, of course, guys, if you enjoy my reactions here, my re-reactions, the definitive reactions, like I said, to Attack on Titan, then you can actually get a bonus episode every week over on Patreon, which is linked on top of the description. Over there, we will also be a bunch of episodes ahead already. I'll try to do the math right now. I think we should be on episode 18 already. So literally, you have a bunch of episodes to binge. You'll get 2 of them every single week. So very much worth checking it out. It's linked on top of the description, of course. Over there, there's also full-length reactions, OVAs, bonus videos, a bunch of stuff. So definitely check it out. Your support is very much appreciated. But then for now, let's actually dive into episode 5 of Attack on Titan. Oh yeah, that smoke, man. Damn, this shot is really impressive already. I kind of talked about that, but like, I'm surprised how well the art style holds up. Because I remember thinking season 2 and later seasons was such a leap. Oh wait, did Bertolt actually kick in the gate, or was it... Because I figured it had been Reiner again. But maybe it was just Bertolt kicking it in, because that's what he did too in episode 1, right? Yeah, look at this. Oh my god. Yep, and he's gone. But I do genuinely still wonder about that. Like, wait, weren't we supposed to still see the body here nonetheless? Or maybe that just wasn't the case with the Colossal Titan ever? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's that courage that is exclusive to Eren. I love how they're standing here in a position like this. Evacuating the people already. Right. Because I think this is then gonna get into play, like I said, with the Demo Reeves guy. Interesting how we see these guys a couple of times too. Franz and Hannah. Again, I just don't recall them at all. Do they die in this episode? Armin trying to come up with a plan to seal it immediately. Yeah, because that's where the boulder comes into play later on, right? Oh yeah, I remember that shot. That freaked me out big time. Damn. Such a close-up. Did that guy for... Oh wait, they have like pits around it or something? This one guy was trying to crawl out. Right, is this the first scene we get with Pixis? Yeah, this Marky Vought guy, I thought he was such a big deal initially. stuffing his mouth. Oh, yeah. Maybe he was like, well, Pixis just showed his confidence here, whereas Marky Board was like, scared shitless. Of course, defend his territory. Oh my god. What the fuck? Did he just say he did that on purpose, losing against him in chess? Do we ever know what happened to Marky Board? He has a nice like outside castle as well, I gotta say. It's so interesting to see these scenes that like, you know, and characters that just never end up coming back. Oh, this guy. Yeah, speaking of being scared shitless, this guy definitely was. Well, I don't know if that's the right word, just panicked, you know? Clearly not being somebody who you actually should put in control of the situation. And in command. Yeah, that's Das, that's Thomas Wagner. Oh, really? This was like the day before Jean was joining? So this is what makes him change his mind? Forgot about that too, but okay. Huh. Yeah, so I guess he was just also impressed always by well, I mean, he even mentions that still until season 4, right? Like in a way he hates Aaron's guts, but in a way it still drives him to you know, better himself. Oh. He just headbutted her, Jesus. She just wants to be by Aaron's side. Grabs him by the wrist. Oh, and she asks that of him. Yeah. And then... No, yeah, you're definitely not. I mean, you're not, but you are, but you're not. Oh, these guys here that... I don't know what this girl is called, but then there's Thomas Wagner on the other side, so they're both dead. They must be in this episode, right? Hey, they're just trying to, you know, eat someone with powers, that's all. Ah, this is where they explain that they gotta hit him in the nape. Yeah. Yeah, I remember finding the gear in general super fascinating that they used. Because in a way it seemed impractical, I guess, or just weird, but after explaining this, of course, it makes sense that they need that sword. Or those swords to hit him in the right spot. I mean, these guys must all be dead now, right? Because there's gonna be victims, I remember that. So these guys, I mean, yeah. I did not really remember their characters, so they're all just they're gonna fall bit by bit, aren't they? One by one. Oh yeah, yeah, this scene I thought was so awesome. The 3D shots always. Oh shit. Holy fuck. He's just hugging the tower. Oh shit, man. Right, I'm seeing the shots now and suddenly it's back in my... Or just kind of like, you know, pulls the memory back out of my database or whatever, like... Now I remember this. Well, that was the end of Wagner. Yeah, I knew he wasn't gonna last long. I assume the same will count for this girl here, though. We saw her a lot too in these last few episodes, but not much later as far as I know. Oh man, that... yeah, this... This kind of blew me away the first time. Damn. Oh shit. Oh wow. This guy, yeah, with the beard. Isn't he from like Grisha's group? Oh man. Yeah, I will say I love how they do this, because going by this moment you would think that Armin right now is already right in the belly. But obviously time kind of stands still in anime, I guess. Yeah, and Armin tells about wanting to see the outside world. So really, that was kind of a clue that the world here is just supposed to be the same as the world in our lives. Oh. And they end up getting killed. Wow, this is so great how it all still fits together so well. Yeah, I felt so fucked up in this moment, thinking that Armin could actually be dying. You gotta love how it's done though. The music too, so eerie. And Mikasa just walking there, like... Yeah, she just looks around like she can feel what happened. Great. Wow. I don't know, man, it's hard to really yeah, just explain what these episodes do with me watching them a second time now. But I just, all in all, I'm so much more appreciative of them. Like, I remember watching this episode for the first time. This was the one that kind of blew me away again after, episode 3 and 4, which I described already. The first time around just felt a little bit like build up is the best way to put it, I guess. I was waiting for things to, sort of take off again, and that's what happened in this episode. And of course, they took off in a major way because I had never expected to see Eren supposedly die here, right? And at the time, I just totally did not understand what I was even looking at. If this was gonna be, I think I even called it like a Game of Thrones moment, right? Without spoiling that show too much, but or if or if they were just essentially screwing with me. I was still trying to figure out the rules of this show, if in a way, that would be like the best way of putting it. Because, for example, one thing that I did learn definitely right afterwards is that, after seeing plenty of episodes in this show, I understood finally how this is just something that it's going to do a lot of the times, is leaving you on these massive cliffhangers, supposedly killing off characters, and they end up not being killed, right? Like, I don't hold that against it in the slightest, but it's definitely a noticeable pattern in the show, right? That's not to say that plenty of characters do actually end up dying in the show, and I like actually how most of the important characters stay alive, at least until the very end of it. I really do like that, because that's what allows you to actually really warm up to these characters over the course of so many seasons, to the point where when something major or definitive actually does happen to them, of course, it leaves much more of a huge impact on you, and it's not just shock value for the sake of it. Killing off characters for the sake of killing characters, I've never liked that idea in the slightest. So I finally understand now also, and that's actually something, again, like that I appreciate more, how in these past couple episodes, like, now I understand why they did have some scenes with Thomas Wagner in there, and that girl, I still don't really know what her name was. We didn't even see her, I think, definitively get eaten here, but I assume we're supposed to believe that she did. Or we're still going to see that maybe in the next episode or two. But yeah, like both of them, I saw them a couple of times in the shots, and I'm like, wow, I don't remember these guys really much at all. And now I see, like, oh, but they did do that to at least make us familiar with the concept of them being around, so that now when we do see them get eaten, again, it has a bit more of an impact, and you really feel like, holy shit, what's going on here is tragic, and yeah, obviously reinforced even more by first making you think Armin is gonna die, then it turns out to be Eren. And I sure loved how in hindsight, I remember having a bunch of comments tell me, like, psych, Mikasa is the main character, or whatever, which you guys definitely got me with that. Well, actually, I'm not sure. No, actually, you didn't get me with that, because I actually started watching a couple episodes ahead for the first time right around when I got here. So I think I watched 5, 6, and I'm not sure about 7 though, but I at least I watched some of them, back to back. So by the time that people actually could leave those comments, I had already seen that Eren was still alive. So, but I did, like, I appreciated how people were actually leaving those kinds of comments afterwards, with me realizing, like, oh, you're trying to, you're literally trying to throw me off. So, like, again, that's better than, of course, actually spoiling something, which some people would be eager to do. Yeah, maybe, is there anything else for me to comment about this episode? Well, again, I am still left with that question of, like, how did Berthel disappear out of nowhere? Is that something that I'm supposed to actually understand? And, if so, then explain it to me again, because I'm not sure. Isn't his body still supposed to be there? Because that's what it would be like with the other Titans, from what I could see. Like, they'd always kind of leave their corpses behind, right? Do those corpses, like disintegrate or something, I think it's called, after a while, or very quickly, or how does that work? We never quite saw that. Also cool how that brings me back to, in this episode, they kind of talked about certain things they noticed about the Titans, like high body temperature and a couple of other things. And, like, I remember at the time very much thinking this stuff was going to be kind of crucial, and I'd really have to try and take that in mind for, like, how they would be spawned or made or whatever, which in hindsight it didn't matter as much actually at all. of course, yeah, them eating people is basically about, as far as I'm aware, and I think that's the correct interpretation still, but like them eating others is just about, and they do so kind of mindlessly, right? So it's not like they purposefully seem to do it, because they quite don't really control their brains much anymore, I think, right? It's pretty mindless, all the stuff that they do, but they eat people with the hopes that like they consume somebody who has who has one of the bigger titans, so they can actually turn back or turn into one of those bigger titans / a regular human again. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you know, we saw again Marky brought here, which I remembered that scene from long ago, but didn't seem to have that much more significance afterwards. We saw Jean have that little confrontation with Aaron, which seemed to have yeah, well, I don't know if this was the moment that did it necessarily, but it's cool to see again back in hindsight, and these are the details that I want to dive into a little bit more. Like, what is the thing that really drove Jean? He talked a lot about it, of course, especially even in the most recent season 4. But you know, he always called Aaron a certain thing. I forgot what he called him exactly, but like a brat, basically, or whatever, right? And they never saw eye to eye much. I definitely remember that from the early seasons. But yeah, even though he hated that part of Aaron, it at the same time, I think, really always pushed him to become a better, you know, to improve on himself. I think that's you know, cool to see, because we see it literally happen here in this episode once again. Mikasa too, with once again showing how she wants to be by his side, but she is called to a different, you know, part. And then asks him, like, the one thing that you shouldn't do is die. Yeah, and then we know, obviously, that, like, well, at first they think that's what actually happened in this episode, but thankfully that story is going to turn around, of course. I think I've touched on it all for now. I want to thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my, you know, re-reaction here to Attack on Titan Season 1, Episode 5. Of course, should you enjoy these reactions, you can actually get a bonus episode every week over on Patreon. Right now, we will also already be over on episode 18 of the first season, so you can binge a bunch of episodes and my reactions to them. That's linked on top of the description as always, along with full-length reactions, OVAs, and a bunch of bonus videos. So definitely go and check that out. And then for now, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you back in the next episode.